The following program contains disturbing materials that may not be suitable for some resellers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Question for you guys. Why do you resell? And mainly, why do you resell, let's say on eBay? Is it because you love the items that you buy to resell rather than become a hoarder? You decide to share the love with other people, other like minded collectors or buyers out there. And you don't really care whether or not, you're making a sale today, a sale tomorrow. If it happens, it happens. And if you're that seller, that's commendable. I'm not going to ever besmirch or make someone like that feel like they're not a reseller, because you are a reseller. You're just doing it for different reasons than the rest of us. And I would only assume that the remaining folks that are resellers on the platform are doing it because they want to make money. They want to make money. Now, I guess the question is, what's more important to you? If you're out to make money, is it to sell the items that you like to sell or making the money? Because I think there's a lot of people that get caught up in that part of it. It's like, I don't want to sell these trinkets, right? Because I just don't like them. I don't like working with them. I don't know enough about them. But on the other hand, I'll sell these trinkets because I enjoy working with them, or maybe I like to sell clothing, right? It's something that I'm comfortable with. And we talk about comfortable before on this channel, and I think comfortable is going to get in your way. And the number one thing that I think is holding resellers back from really doing well is really truly understanding why they're doing this in the first place. Okay? And then acting upon it. So if you realize that you are in this to make money and you're not stuck on whether it's this you're selling or if it's this you're selling, lots of things to sell on eBay. And I know that a lot of people would rather, look, I want to sell this and I want to make money. And I expect eBay to provide those sales to me. And I think a lot of sellers get caught up in that part of it where they don't want to budge from selling this thing because this thing's making money. And instead of pivoting, we just double down on this thing, and this thing ain't very popular. This thing is not getting sales, but yet now we want to complain. Now we want to get upset. Now we want to blame it on eBay. And when all along the decision to sell whatever we're selling is on us. eBay doesn't care or know, or frankly, they don't care if you're going to sell this thing versus this thing. That's up to you. eBay's just the avenue for you to make those sales. Okay, it is your job as a reseller to figure out a market for this thing. And if there isn't a market for this thing, why are you buying it to resell? That's the question that I have for you guys. Why do you do this? And again, if you're doing this for the love of selling this thing, then keep selling this thing and just take what you get. That's kind of what you're after. But most people who watch these videos want to make the money. But I think it's almost like having your cake and eat it too. And the biggest challenge, though, and I think this is why people get so upset with me, is because here I am making these videos saying, hey guys, you need to focus on what you're selling. And these resellers have thousands upon thousands of items sitting in storage, or maybe they're already listed. And there's not a whole lot of demand for those items. And you're sort of in this spot, well, what am I supposed to do with all the stuff that I just bought all these years? I can't just throw it out. But I think we continue to double down on buying those kind of items despite the fact that our track record isn't that great. Now, what's good for you may not be very good for me. I have a store that is a little over 200 items, and I'm focusing on my main store. I know my secondary store isn't very good. I think there's a lot of stuff sort of that I can deep dive into to figure out why that store is not performing the way I want it to. I think a lot of it has to do with me and the amount of time I'm putting into it. I have spent 90% of my time and my energy on my main store. And I can certainly see why I am doing great on one store and not so hot on another. And it's like two different sellers. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. I'm spending the time, daily listing, daily interaction with the store. That one, whenever I get around to it. Because if I'm making 10 to 12 to 14,000, depending on the month, in gross sales on my main account, and I'm only making like 1,000 on the other, why would I spend the kind of time that I'm spending? Why would I take away time from the main account? Yeah, I guess you could say, well, why don't you just get rid of the other stuff in the other store? I guess I could, but you know what? To make an extra 1,000 a month, and that's gross sales. I mean, make an extra 500 a month after all my expenses are taken out. You know what? And it just requires me to list a few here, a few there. I'm going to keep that store open. Am I going to buy more of that stuff? Probably not. I'm going to continue to try to buy high ASP, average sell price items, where if I list 5 items a day, I know I've listed close to $500 in merchandise. The goal for me personally, because it takes a lot longer for me to list these larger items and to inspect and test, 5 to 10 items is kind of the sweet spot for me. If I get 10 quality items up close to about $1,000 in, and this is the listed value. This is not even counting the actual value that eBay counts, which is including the shipping, right? So if I can put that kind of value into my store, knowing that I have a little over 200 items, I'm selling at a clip of 450 to 475 items in a month. Well, that's a heck of a sell-through rate for a store, and I'm going to keep doubling down on that. And I'm not going to spend the kind of time that I would like to, but then again, there's other things going on in my life. You know, we have a lot of those distractions have been happening. Taxes have been taking a lot of my time. Thousands of dollars later to the government, I can say that I'm past that. Taxes are filed, and just now we have a lot of other things going on. People coming into town. When you live in Vegas, people would rather stay with you than to front the money for an expensive hotel room. I get it, but it creates just chaos. And when you have chaos, guess what? Something has to suffer. And in this case, it's my secondary store, and it's hurt my YouTube. I haven't really had the time to really get in enough videos to really keep my YouTube traction going, I guess, because I'm constantly trying to build the channel, and I need to work on that. So it's just trying to get all that time back. But I digress on everything I'm saying here. I really, and I get a lot of hate from this. I get a lot of people who really want to get mad at me for just explaining the obvious. This is the number one key to reselling. If you are not buying items that have good demand, good sell-through rate, at a good price point, what are you doing? I mean, really, is it because you love selling the items that you're buying? Then keep doing that. But if you're trying to make money, you got to start understanding what the market is for the items that you're buying to resell. If you're coming across this is kind of what I do. What you do is up to you. But if I come across an item that someone wants $10 for, if I'm not seeing solds for at least $50 on that item, that's a hard pass for me. Now, maybe I can bundle that with a bunch of other similar items at this yard sale and see if they can come down to $5. If I can get my average cost down, then hey, I can pay $5 for that $40 item. But I've seen so many people say, yeah, I picked up something for $5 that I've sold for $20. But at the end of the day, is it really worth your time to invest $5 to make? You're not making 20. You're making 20 minus fees. Okay, so maybe you're promoting the listing. I mean, that's what I do. So in my eyes, that $20 turns into about 13. because I'm paying a final value fee off of the shipping that I'm collecting over and above that. Okay, because I charge shipping calculated. Do I want to turn 5 into 12 and have that 5 sit on my shelf for weeks potentially before someone buys it? That's not attractive to me. That's a lot of work. If I'm trying to obtain, my goal has always been $500 a day in gross sales. If I'm trying to achieve that, that's a lot of sales that I have to make, and I'd rather invest that $5 into items that are going to get me $50 or more. Now, a lot of you might say, well, I don't have access to the type of merchandise that you do. Have you looked as hard as I've looked? Okay, because I'm sure for many folks, now not all, there's some people that are legitimately in a situation where they just can't get out and source, or the sourcing in their area is horrible. But right now is yard sale season countrywide, and it's a good time to take advantage of the fact that people need money, and people are looking to give you deals, or willing to give you deals, if you can figure out ways to get people down on their price sometimes, or just get to the yard sale early and be the one that's going to get the deals. It takes work, it takes effort, it takes you getting out of your comfort zone and figuring it out. You know what? Sales for me 2 years ago were horrible. Eventually, I got out of my own way and I figured it out. And that's what you guys got to do. Those of you who really want to do well as a reseller and make this your full-time income, it's possible. It's not easy. That's why we call this channel Flippin' Ain't Easy, because it ain't easy. Is it hard? No. I mean, it doesn't take a degree to resell on eBay. It takes dedication, and it takes the time and effort that eBay wants you to put into the platform, whether it's listing, whether it's refining old listings, or bringing down your prices that are way too high. I've seen it so many times. People buy too high because they don't know how to negotiate, they don't have good sourcing opportunities, they spend too much on an item, like that $10 item I was telling you about, and then they're not able to use markdown sales and coupons, or even take an aggressive offer from a buyer. I can do that all day long. I can buy something for, and this happens all the time, I buy something for $5 or $10, I have it listed for $100. The market says that this item has sold in the last 90 days for anywhere between 90 and 110. I try to get in sort of right in the middle when I'm first setting up my prices. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sell that item for that amount. And I think a lot of people are married to the idea that they're going to get that amount once it sells. For me, I have offers turned on. Someone hits me up for 70. That item historically may have sold for 80 to 120, but 70, I'm into it for 5 or 10 plus shipping. Well, 70 plus shipping. Sign me up. Now, a lot of people might say, well, you shouldn't race to the bottom. You're hurting other sellers. You're hurting the market when you do that. But for me, I think it's that old adage that you're only able to sell your item for what the buyer is willing to pay, and that becomes the market. So if it's a fair offer, it makes me money, I can now take that money, put it into new merchandise, and keep churning that, right? So I'm not building a huge store, I'm just flipping. That's why I'm able to make 475 sales in a 30-day period with only a 210 item store. It's less than that right now. And so what works for me may not work for you, but the concepts are still the same. And the question still remains, why do you sell on eBay? Is it for the fun of it, for the hobby of it? Then this video isn't for you. But if you really do want to make money from this business, then you need to start treating it like a business and making business decisions. And it shouldn't matter if you like Milwaukee or not. If Milwaukee ain't selling, this item isn't selling, stop buying it. Start buying other things. And if that means that it's time to maybe blow out the other merchandise that you bought with ambition that those items were going to sell and they just didn't, talking thousands of items, maybe that's the answer. Or crosslist over to Mercari. That's a good site to go where things aren't really selling at the asking price on eBay. Utilize, if you guys want to get into cross posting, first of all, if you want to even start listing on Mercari, I have a link down below where you guys can get hooked up when you first sign up to be a seller. I get hooked up as well. Once you get your stuff on there, or you want to use a cross-listing program like TreeCat, there's also a link in there. It's currently still free, and that tool will allow you to get all your merchandise, or the merchandise you really think needs help, over to Mercari. It's a totally different market. It's like a yard sale, online yard sale. It's not the same. You're not going to get the same kind of price point that you get on eBay, but it'll help you get your items moved. So there's lots of strategies, and that's just one of them. Find things that are going to sell if you want to do well in this business. And if you're happy with what you're doing, don't listen to a darn thing I'm saying. I'm just looking at other sellers, and I know that the majority of sellers want to make money, but the way they go about it is they're getting in their own way, and they're just not able to succeed. And it usually starts from the buy. How much are you paying for that item? And that sets the tone for the entire sale of that item, and it sets the tone for your entire store, and how you, if you're able to move items at a fast pace, or if you're just going to be sitting on stuff and waiting days, weeks, and months to make the sale. So that's my rant for the day. I just wanted to put that out there. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'd certainly appreciate that. Check us out on Mondays and Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on our live. So figuring out if I need to buy this or buy this to resell, well, that's not an answer that I can give you. You have to use your tools to figure that out, and hopefully this video is going to give you something to think about. But it's yet another example of how flipping ain't easy, and I want you to have a great, excellent rest of your day, and we will see you guys very soon. Take care, everyone.